everybody. Welcome to today's spicy live stream. We have a lot to discuss. Celestine, I'm very sorry to hear that you're sick, but that was very sweet of you. And also, by the way, I have a hard out at 3:30. I was going to maybe wait to do the live stream until after my meeting at 3:30, but then I was like, this news is too hot to sit on. So I'm excited to discuss it. That's right, Oasis. It's Tom Holland's world, and we're just living in it. Hey, Elpidio, thank you very much. All right, so I do not know who Sadie Sink is playing. I've reached out. Let me just double check. No response yet. Also, I would be I just want to be very careful. You don't want to spoil the movie, but I'm pretty excited about this. Okay, so I think it's interesting. I see a couple of theories. We're gonna go through all of them. Okay, so as usual, please keep your comments and questions to the story at hand. I will answer your questions and comments at the end of each story, and then at the very end of the video, we should have time for 10 minutes of Ask Me Anything. Okay, here we go. All right, story number 1. This is the big one. This totally messed up what I was planning to cover today because it was such a big story. Boop! Oh, look at this. I think they kind of look actually a little bit alike. So yes, Sadie Sink. Marvel has not confirmed it, but the trades, this isn't a rumor. The trades, Deadline, I believe, broke this story. Deadline said Sadie Sink has been cast in Spider-Man 4, which Daniel Destin Cretton is directing. They don't even know who she's playing. They have some theories, but there are better theories. I don't think it's Gwen Stacy, John, because they're not going to dye her hair blonde to play. I mean, that just wouldn't make any sense. So I didn't even include Gwen Stacy as a potential option. All right, so first off, obviously, she's coming off of the insanely popular Stranger Things, which had an amazing season 4, and season 5 is coming out this year. So she's going to certainly be in the news a lot. When we last saw her, she was in a coma. From her interactions. Thank you, Art Lover. Now, what's interesting to me is that, you never know who's going to break out. I'm pretty surprised that Jack Quaid gets all the big roles out of The Boys. And, this is a very talented cast on Stranger Things. And Sadie Sink, in fact, joined it late. That's right, she was in The Whale as well, Mika. But, I got to tell you, I think this has got to frost Millie Bobby Brown's cookies just a little bit. Because was even in the electric state for the Russo brothers. So maybe they'll call her up. The Russo brothers are very loyal to people who work with them. Maybe that's the whole reason she made that movie. Almost all of their, Millie Bobby Brown, almost all the Russo brothers post-Marvel movies feature, MCU actors. But it's insane that she is the one who got this big breakout first. I mean, Finn Wolfhard had a couple of great opportunities, but this is by far the biggest opportunity to come out. I mean, it's huge. Now, I see a lot of you saying, you're saying that she's the best actress. Well, I don't know if she's the best actress or not, but in season 4, she certainly had the best scenes. She had incredible scenes in season 4. From the way, that levitation scene in the cemetery to the way, to that, the amazing song. Who is the person who sang it? I forget it. I even own it. I even got it because I liked it so much. Running Up the Hill. Everybody was talking about it. I mean, it was amazing when she was just, Kate Bush, thank you, when she was running to get out of the Upside Down and to escape, Jamie Campbell Bower. Jamie Bower Campbell. I got to refresh my Stranger Things. It's been a minute. What is he? He's Vecna. That's right. He's Vecna. It came to me. But yeah, I mean, what a showcase for an actress. I mean, she just couldn't have asked for a better thing. So I think that I'm not surprised she got the nod because of that. And I think being in The Whale probably did help her because, I think that really gave her a little more cachet as an actress. All right, so who could she possibly be playing? So just so you know, Deadline was like, she's either Jean Grey or Mary Jane Watson. But I agree with all of you, she's probably Firestar. And by the way, I saw Wanda's attorney, just to be fair, is the one who I saw point that out. And I think when I looked into it, I was like, well, I think that's who it is. Okay, so Now, obviously, she's been rumored for Jean Grey for quite some time. Now, Jean Grey, you might wonder, why on earth would Jean Grey be in a Spider-Man movie? And it does seem sort of stupid. But the reasoning would be is that in the Ultimate Spider-Man comic, Kitty Pryde was a really big character. She even dated Peter Parker in that storyline. And so it was a really big, big part of the Ultimate line, with Peter Parker being involved with the X-Men because they're in the same age range. They were in the Ultimate Universe. Now, part of me thought maybe she'd be Kitty Pryde because of that storyline. But Sadie Sink is not Jewish, and Kitty Pryde is, very famously a Jewish character, and I can't imagine Kevin Feige not casting someone Jewish in that role. So I don't think she's Kitty Pryde. But I do think that if she were, say, Jean Grey, it would maybe be based on that. I got to tell you, I don't think she's a great choice for Jean Grey. I don't like her for Jean Grey. I would be disappointed if she was Jean Grey. I'm a little bit nervous about Kitty X-Men, to be honest with you. But, maybe that's the direction that Kevin Feige is going to go in. I sure hope not. But I don't think she'd be... Some of you think she'd be a good Jean. I don't agree. All right, so Firestar. This is a theory, and it's a brilliant theory. So Firestar and Iceman have teamed up with Spider-Man, not just in the comics, but also in the animation. Oh. Now, if you did a Spider-Man 4 movie that featured Firestar and Iceman, I mean, that's going to be amazing. That would be incredible. Usually, he's friends with Bobby Drake and Johnny Storm in the comics. But, let's see. I mean, it would be interesting to go with Iceman instead of, Johnny Storm, a.k.a. the Human Torch. But we'll see which way they go. Also, if they decide to do Iceman, remember, Iceman, as some of you are pointing out, is currently LGBT in the comics. I think some people are very happy about that change and some people are not. So that would thrust Marvel into another firestorm. They're like, well, just when we think we're out, we get back in. But I think it would be really phenomenal. I think it would give the movie, talk about not being grounded. It would, Zeke, I don't know if you say these things first or not, but I'm going to appreciate your enthusiasm always, Zeke. So yes, I think that it would be just an amazing idea. Maybe even get Johnny Storm in here as well. So you've got, this is Fire and Ice. And so that it would be interesting to have two fire people, Firestar and Johnny Storm. But I think it would be a kind of a soft introduction to the X-Men. And I think that it would be just phenomenal to have, those powers in the Spider-Man 4 movie. I think that this, to me, I go, oh, yes, there's my movie when I see this stuff. So I think Firestar is a very good idea. So let's see. Now, some people were guessing Black Cat. No. Horrible choice for Black Cat. Black Cat is supposed to be a sexy bombshell. And I just think that Sadie Sink, while very beautiful, just doesn't have that vibe. I think she'd be I couldn't think of a worse Black Cat, to be honest with you. That's right, Sydney Sweeney, Anya Taylor-Joy, these people would all be way better Black Cats. Anybody would be a better Black Cat than Sadie Sink. I think she'd be a very bad Black Cat, and I just hope that's not the case. Now, some people are saying, hey, it's a redhead. Even Deadline is saying, perhaps it will be Mary Jane. So Mary Jane Watson, of course, is historically one of the most famous redheads in pop culture. Forget comic books. They've never really gotten her. Well, I don't think the fans have ever really rallied behind, Mickey Madison for Black Cat is pretty good casting as well. But anyway, I think that the fans have never 100% agreed that they've done a good job with Mary Jane Watson. Of course, I think, especially when I look back at the Kirsten Dunst role when I rewatched the Spider-Man movies before No Way Home. I thought she did a pretty nice job, Kirsten Dunst. And we'll talk about Zendaya in a moment. But you might be like, well, also Sadie Sink, again, beautiful, but she's not a supermodel. Mary Jane Watson is supposed to be a supermodel. So that's always been one element that people have taken issue with the portrayal of the character to date. Now, I would like to point out that in the Ultimate Universe, they brought Mary Jane back down to earth. And they made her still wonderful, but not a supermodel. And they kind of pushed her in a journalism direction, almost a little bit like Lois Lane. And in fact, they had that same thing in the video games. The video games as well. Also like a more down-to-earth take on Mary Jane Watson. So it kind of looks like Sadie Sink would maybe be a good Mary Jane Watson. However, let me tell you, if she's Mary Jane Watson, I'll never let it go. Because it would be so disrespectful to Zendaya, I would be furious on Zendaya's part. It would be such disrespect, and it would cause such a problem with Zendaya and the fans. It would just ruin the movie for me, and it would be just so bad if they were competing Mary Janes, and one was comics accurate. I just would be furious. Now, especially after this beautiful ending, where she didn't remember him and they had to break up. I thought this was really I've loved their romance on screen and off. There are rumors that they perhaps are going to be getting married. And I think that this would be so disrespectful to Zendaya and would create such comic book, the toxic fandom would come after her to such a degree that's right, I Don't Care Bear. Tom Holland would never allow that to happen. He would never allow that to happen. So I think that there is a zero chance that she's Mary Jane Watson, unless they're like really unaware. But I don't think they're that unaware. I mean, Tom Holland has said that he's got so stressed from the paparazzi following them around that he took to sleepwalking. So he's very aware, I think, of the situation, and I think that. I didn't move the arrow, but you can see from the pictures what I'm talking about. That it would be one of the worst things that you could possibly do, if not the worst thing that you could do to Zendaya. I know some of you are saying the multiverse, but I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what the reasoning is. If to have competing Mary Jane Watsons and one is comic book accurate, and to pit a white Mary Jane Watson against a mixed ethnicity of Mary Jane Watson, it would be like just such a horrible, horrible thing to do. And it would be just so disrespectful. I really hope that that's not the case. So that's another reason that I think Firestar is a great idea. So yeah, I think it's going to be Firestar. To me, that makes the most sense. Let's bring Firestar up again. I mean, maybe Jean Grey, but I think that's such a ridiculous way to introduce the X-Men. So here's Firestar. And I see Wanda's attorney is here. Hey, Wanda's attorney. I saw this theory first through your tweet. Somebody called it to my attention. So yes. So does you guys want a poll? I guess I'll put a poll up. Let's see here. I guess I'll do, who do you think Sadie Sink is playing? Jean Grey, Firestar, Mary Jane Watson, and then I guess I'll put Gwen Stacy in there. It's not Gwen. It would be so stupid if it was Gwen Stacy. I would be equally upset if it was Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy is blonde. Let me make sure I spell Gwen Stacy correctly. Okay. Gwen Stacy is blonde. It would be the height of ridiculousness. It would be the same as casting her as Mary Jane Watson, in my opinion. By the way, anyone who's watching can vote in the poll. You don't have to be a member to vote in the poll. Anyone who's watching can click on it and vote. That's right, Nacho. Well, Emma Stone was a redhead and got cast, but why on earth? She's famously a redhead. I think it would be so, okay, I think it would be ridiculous if she was Gwen Stacy. To take someone who has famous red hair and it's just so dumb. Let's see here. Mr. Magic, as I said, I think that Kitty Pryde, because she's a Jewish character, Kevin Feige will want to cast a Jewish actress. Elliot's like, Bryce Dallas Howard had red hair, Emma Stone had red hair. Well, that's fine, but just because two people made a dumb mistake, don't make it the third time. Away says, is Firestar a waste of Sadie Sink? Heck no! I mean, she's going to be flying around with fire powers. I mean, that would be pretty amazing. Gav correctly points out that they did not cast a Jewish actor as Billy Kaplan. That is a fair point. Although they did make the character Jewish in the show, I think it's because everybody wanted Joe Locke. He had been fan cast, but nobody has fan cast Sadie Sink as Kitty Pryde. Michael says she could be playing another character entirely, like Betty Brant. That's true. She could be. But I mean, let's see. I mean, they could always nerf it, but Firestar is clearly the way to go. I mean, I hope this isn't another situation where we find out what Marvel really chose to do, and it's much worse than what all the fans came up with. We're like, Firestar and Iceman, and then they're like, Betty Brant, and you're like, what? Let's see here. Wiki Nomad says, do you think with Jacob Batalon's impressive new look, we might see a Hobgoblin arc? He always looks like that. They just put a wig on him in the Spider-Man movies. I'm not a Ned fan, as you know. Jose says, Grace, it would be so stupid for them to do Kids X-Men, since the Claremont run is so adult and soapy. Exactly. How about X-Men 97? Everybody likes to see the X-Men be ridiculously soap opera-y. I do not want child X-Men. I guess Tom Holland is old enough to get engaged, so they feel like they're going to do Tom Holland age. I want full-on adults, to be honest with you, but I don't think we're going to get it. Weekend Thwip. It's a great name. Says, what about Thwip? Says, what about Mayday Parker? If Toby comes back, she could be his daughter. That's a pretty good theory. Okay, I will allow that theory as well. That's a good one. I like that one. That's actually a very good theory. But I don't know if they're still doing the multiverse. It does take place between two multiverse movies. We'll see. Let me close the poll, and then we'll get on to the next one. Okay, hold on. Mika, I hope we get Miles soon too. Okay, Miles is a part of Doom's the Secret Wars comic book, which is obviously being used as the inspiration for Avengers Doomsday. All right, so who do you think Sadie Sink is playing? 41% of you think Firestar, 30% think Jean Grey, 18% think it's Mary Jane Watson, and 9% think it's Gwen Stacy. I gotta say, I could see how the Jean Grey would be a misdirect for Firestar, because they're both redheaded mutants. That'll be interesting. Sahib says, you can dye hair, thank you very much. Of course you can, but why would you take away Sadie Sink's outstanding, one of her best traits? Zeke says, Grace Angori Rice from Mean Girls already plays Betty Brant in the MCU, so no. Well, they could always recast. Let's see here. Marky Mark says, if we get younger X-Men, this is Marvel continuing to make the mistake of putting financial interests ahead of fan interests. They cast young so they can play a young time. Oh, for sure. Definitely, that's why they do it. I really don't want child X-Men. I guess they feel we already got the adult X-Men with Hugh Jackman. We'll see. We'll see what they decide to do. I really like the Firestar idea quite a bit. She could be like Tobey Maguire's daughter, Mayday Parker. I would be cool with that as well. Tobey Maguire would be like, why do I have a daughter who's so old? What are you doing to me? But then that would make her get stuck in the Young Avengers? Let's just see what they decide to do. But yeah, let's see. I think the Firestar theory is fantastic. All right, so let's get on to the next one. Hold on. Story number 2. All right, so this doesn't actually, I'll highlight it for a second. Where'd it go? Let me get my arrow. I need to be able to point at stuff. All right, hold on. There we go. Okay. Boop. Okay, so we got a first look, or a new look. Well, a first look at Tom Holland in the Odyssey. Woo! I got my arrow. I'm going to point to shit. Okay, I love it. Woo! Okay, so they put Tom Holland on a boat, and I love how Tom Holland's like, what if I fall in the water? And they're like, good luck. I hope you can swim. Everybody else has life preservers on. But yes, So here is Tom Holland he's on a boat. He's on a boat, to quote The Lonely Island. And everybody just couldn't help take a picture of it. So there's no chapter times for this because we're just going to look at the photos. I think I'll say this. I'm really surprised at how like not glamorous it is. Like I was expecting like this really amazing epic that would be like very Zack Snyder-y meets like old school Hollywood, like David Lean. But this was like, I'm like, that's a pretty small boat, man. Like it's very tiny. That's right, Noah, Garnet Fire. That's a good comparison. And it's very bleak. I agree, Juan Gabriel. I mean, I guess bleak is very Nolan-y. But wedding cake, Marduk. I was expecting wedding cake treatment for a historical action movie, right? The Odyssey shouldn't be glamorous, Doc Hayes. I mean, is Cersei just going to walk in like normal and turn them into pigs and then they're just going to be running around through? I mean, it's supposed to be really cool. I was surprised. That's right. I like Garnet Fire. You're on fire. Greek glam. Or Spartacus. Yes, that's right. Spartacus, both the movie and the show. Or Ben-Hur. I mean, I was looking forward to a Roman sandal epic. So I'm real surprised that it just looks super realistic. Like, I know the boats were probably that small in real life because, it was olden times and that's the biggest they could build them. But it is less fun. You're like, that boat's extremely realistic. Okay. I mean, I'm sure that the cinematography will be really fantastic and I'm sure that they'll have a really cool Christopher Nolan-y style score. But I'm just real surprised. I'm real surprised. I guess I'm glad I saw these photos because they kind of like manage my expectations. Zeke says, why isn't it realistic? The costumes are historically accurate. I like your enthusiasm, Brett. Yes, live stream. I don't know. I am kind of intrigued by whoever this guy is in a hood. Right? He's like, oh, I have something secretive to tell you. Or he's a traveler or both. But are they comics historically accurate? I've seen a number of people like Sock Lee just pointed out they're actually not historically accurate. So it's like you can't even point to that. So I don't know. I mean, it has an amazing all-star cast in it, and The Odyssey is an incredible story that everybody should know. And I'm sure it's going to have amazing sets because it's shot on location. And I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. But I'm a scooch disappointed that it's not more like glam. Let me do a poll on this. Okay. What style do you want for The Odyssey? Greek glam, fantasy, Roman sandals. I think I'm misspelling these things. There we go. Roman sandals, epic, realistic, and like, I'm just gonna let Nolan cook. Okay. Anyone, by the way, can vote in a poll. You don't have to be a member to vote in a poll. So, Zeke, I don't know why, I think this is just Christopher Nolan's style. Jacob says all the money went to the cast. But Christopher Nolan, I think Universal just gave him a blank check for this. That's funny, Carrie. It is the Greek Dunkirk. He Dunkirked it. You're totally right. It just looks very much like Dunkirk. That's crazy. Man, I think Universal should have asked for more details in the pitch. They should have been like, are you just going to do Dunkirk but in old times? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, I'm a little nervous about that, buddy. I mean, when people hear about the Odyssey in ancient Greece and the gods, I hope he at least has like really exciting approach to the Greek gods. I don't want to see boring Greek gods. Let's see. We'll give the poll another quick moment. You guys any questions about this while people vote? That's right, Sarah. He has incredible box office. And even if this does look bleak and not particularly fun, I still think everyone's going to go and see it. That's right, Ben 10. Are we going to have a Poseidon with no CGI powers? Is Poseidon just going to hold his hand out and then everybody will sink into the water? And you're going to be like, I wanted a giant wave. Nacho says, why don't we call it Game of Thrones? I guess that's fair. Okay, I mean, I guess that's a good approach. We could say Game of Thrones instead of Dunkirk. I don't think Tom Holland is the lead of this movie, Zeke. He's just not on set as much. Celestine, you're back! I hope you're feeling better. You put a very nice comment at the beginning before we started. Let's see here. Let's see. What did Oliver say? I'm going back. This is Nolan, not Ridley Scott. No glamour. Well, I mean, you have to understand the story that you're telling. Although I guess you're right, Diego. Disney's like, whoo! You know, like we can still do Hercules and not have to compete with this. Zeke says, then why is he on a boat? Zeke, you're very enthusiastic. I think he's on a boat because he's looking for his dad, but that doesn't mean he's the lead. I think it would be ridiculous if the first photo released for the movie officially starred Matt Damon and featured only Matt Damon, and then he only had a supporting role. I mean, that would just be ridiculous. I think that Tom Holland probably has a meaningful role. I mean, don't forget, Tom Holland has to go off and shoot Avengers Doomsday. Juan Gabriel says it looks medieval, not ancient Greece. Yeah, that's true. I can agree with that as well. I'm just, again, it's not at all what I expected, and it really threw me for a loop. All right, let me end the poll. Okay, so 45% of you are just going to let Nolan cook. And I would agree. That's what I would go with as well. I think Nolan has earned our trust at this point. I mean, anyone who can turn Oppenheimer into a billion-dollar movie knows what he's doing. Greek Glam Fantasy was next at 29, which is what I wanted. That's what I wanted, but this is what I got. And then 13% want our old school Roman sandals epic, and then only 11% want it to be realistic. So let's see what happens. William says, could he be saving money for the Hydra and the Sirens? He better be. He better be. That's all I'm saying. Mika, Barbie did help Oppenheimer quite a bit. Well, it didn't make $1 billion, Eric, Oppenheimer, but it got very close. You know, like splitting hairs close. It's like $900 million. That's extremely close. Adam says maybe Tom Holland isn't in Avengers Doomsday. Maybe he's not. But then that would be weird that his movie was in between. Although maybe that's why he wouldn't, because his movie is in between the two films. Although again, as I've said, how on earth do you have Robert Downey Jr. as Doom and Tom Holland not there to react to it? Doc Hayes said, as a fan of the source material, this is exactly what he expected. That's interesting. Well, we'll see what happens. And Psycho wants to point out that Barbie and Oppenheimer helped each other. I think that's true. Zeke says, in the original Odyssey story, Telemachus doesn't go looking for his dad Odysseus, so this seems like the story will be changed a lot. I suspect the Greek gods will be hallucinations. It's very frustrating if that was true. Let's see. But again, I like Christopher Nolan. I mean, he wouldn't be my favorite filmmaker, but I certainly respect him. And I think that I'm just going to let him do what he wants to do on this, which is, I think, is exactly Universal's approach. Big League Chew says, is Nolan coming for Robert Eggers? Maybe. I can see the comparison. However, Robert Eggers is, I think, a little more stylized than this. Okay. So let's move to the next story of the day. I did do an Irish accent. Where that comes from, it wouldn't be my favorite. It comes from an old a play that I saw a long time ago. It was some kind of fun murder mystery play that Matthew Broderick was in. And it was like in an English countryside cabin. And Matthew Broderick was in it, and he was playing an Irish character. And it was also, I think, an old movie. But he had the worst Irish accent I ever heard. It was really hard to listen to him. But it really stood out in my mind when he had that one line where he said, it wouldn't be my favorite. And in my family, we say that all the time. We love that. Who's my favorite filmmaker, Reese? I really like Spielberg. I like Alfred Hitchcock is obviously one of my all-time favorites. But I have some other more like deeper cuts, like who is the guy who did Giant? Is it George Stevens? Yeah, George Stevens I'm a big fan of. I think that David Lean does incredible work. I have a lot of filmmakers that I like. Okay, all right, let's go to the third story of the day. Hold on. All right, story number 3. Boom, baby. All right, let's talk about this mess. All right, so it was announced that the Snow White premiere has been canceled. Now, it was we'd already known that they were doing kind of a pared down event in London, but now they revealed that in Los Angeles this Saturday that they are canceling. Well, they're not canceling the premiere, but they're drastically changing the premiere and who can attend. I will tell you that the social media embargo for the movie does lift on Saturday. Hey, Minaj, thank you. I'm not sure how many people will be able to tweet. Most of the press won't see it until Tuesday. That's when the press screening is. But a couple of people will obviously be in attendance. Maybe influencers. You know, that's what they did for Blue Beetle, you might remember. They actually invited just influencers to that premiere. So you might see influencers tweeting about the movie. I think actually now that I think about it, I bet that would be the case on Saturday, because why would they lift the social media embargo after the premiere if they don't want anyone to, if no one's going to be seeing it then? So the embargo dates are the social media embargo. I forget the time, but the social media embargo date is Saturday, and the review embargo date is the 19th, which is the Wednesday before release. Press sees it on Tuesday. That's when the all media screenings are, and then the review embargo lifts the next day, and then of course it hits theaters the day after that. So what's happening on Saturday? Well, this is how they've described it. What they're going to do is they're going to screen the movie. There's going to be a red carpet. I wonder how they're going to proactively try to deal with the fact that there will for sure be pro-Palestine protesters there, just like there was the chance, just like was the case at the Captain America 4 premiere. So, but you know, any measures they take to combat that, I think could be, you know, just add fuel to the fire. So I think that's going to be an issue, but we'll see. Perhaps the red carpet will be tented or inside. You know, they might decide to do that. It's going to be at the El Capitan, I'm sure, or maybe they'll choose a different location, which is inside. You know, sometimes they'll have red carpets in the lobby of a theater, and I think there's some chance maybe, you know, that's right. Maybe it'll be at Disneyland, Juan Gabriel. You know, let's see what they decide to do. Now, usually for press, particularly for Disney, they'll invite Los Angeles-based press to the premiere instead of an all-media screening. Sometimes it's both. But, you know, Disney's been changing its policy a little bit lately. But usually there's press in attendance. There will be no press watching the movie. They're not inviting any press to watch the film. And as for the red carpet, they're not inviting any press to interview Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot and the team. I think they said they might pick a few outlets. But for maybe like they'll probably have the Disney-owned ones. Like I'm sure Good Morning America will be there. And then also they're going to have a house team to take photographs to be released to the public. And so that's who's going to be it's going to be very, very, very tightly, you know, they're really trying to control the narrative on this the best they can. So why do this? Well, I think that they're really worried. I think they already know that they're cooked. But I think they're concerned that they're like, we don't need to add any more fuel to the fire. And I think they're very concerned that if they had something that was not coordinated so strongly, that, you know, maybe Gal Gadot and or Rachel Zegler would say something that would make things even worse. Either, you know, and also how are they going to keep anybody from asking them about the conflict in the Middle East, which they've both been extremely vocal about. I think it's very fair to ask them about those conflicts because they've already weighed in on them. You know, you're not just asking somebody about a political conflict that is coming out of the blue for them. Both actresses, for different sides, by the way, have been extremely vocal about their positions. And so I think that it would be totally reasonable to ask them about that. And I don't think that you could ask press not to do that. So I think that's one of the reasons that they're keeping the press away from them. So I think there's that issue as well. Then also, there's the very clear thing that everybody's talking about, and that it's clear that they don't like each other because they're not premiering anywhere together at all. They did premiere together at the Oscars, but they didn't have to hang out besides just to presenting this Oscar. But you would think that for a movie Snow White, you would have these two, who are the two major faces for the film, going everywhere promoting it together. They would be the combo. But they're sending them on separate events. And Gal Gadot is the one, because she's the bigger star, she's Wonder Woman, she's the one who's getting a little bit more out of it. So Gal Gadot was at the GMAs on Monday when tickets went on sale to talk about it. And then also in the evening, she went on Jimmy Fallon, which is also based in New York. So Gal Gadot was in New York promoting the film all by herself, which I thought was a really... Well, I think based on what everyone's been hearing, not a very surprising choice. But I'd be like, you ladies are actresses. You can't suck it up for 1 week of promotion. And then Rachel Zegler was in Japan. By the way, looking stunning. Looking just really, really beautiful. And she did like a fan event. And so there were fans there. She sang some numbers from the movie. And that's what she's been doing. So I think, will it help or just not hurt more? I gotta tell you, I think this movie's pretty doomed. I think it's gonna just really... I'm very curious to see what the Rotten Tomatoes score is. Like, how low will it go? I think that I'm very curious to see how... Disney has always relied on the past on the fact that people like to go see Disney movies. Like, everybody thought Mufasa wasn't going to do well, and that thing clawed its way to like almost it might have even hit 700 million at this point. I mean, it's just incredible. But I think that, that's right, Paul, the cinema score will be very telling. But how many people are going to be in the theater? The ticket sales are shockingly poor. I mean, maybe there will be a lot of walk-up business. There's always that chance. No one I know wants to go and see it. And I know a lot of Disney fans, and not any of them are going. But at AMC Lincoln Square, they have a fan event on Thursday. That is the first in Dolby. It's a fan event. And they give you like a poster or something. It's like some big thing. Who just gifted memberships? Thank you, thank you, Julio, 85. All right, so this is the 6 o'clock fan event. That is the current sales for that event. That, to me, is absolutely shocking. This should have sold out immediately. Let me see. IMAX is doing pretty well, though, because people just love IMAX. So the 7 o'clock IMAX is a little bit better. But still, these things are pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I'm just really surprised. I know that Snow White's not very popular, Elliot, but I do think that the movie, for outside of what they did with the dwarves, and some things, it's a really weird film because some things look really good and some things look really bad. Like, I'm totally planning right now for my review to be half good, half bad. Blue is not sold, Aided Buffalo. The gray was the one that was sold. And so I think and I do think that, Gal Gadot is not a great actress. I mean, she told some very cute stories about how excited she was to play the character. Tony says, I saw the Stitch trailer was released. Distraction? I think for sure a distraction. I think Stitch is definitely there to change the conversation and to make Disney look like they have a bright future still. They're like, this might bomb, but Stitch is going to be $1 billion picture. At least. And I think that's true. I think everybody who saw that trailer today, my reaction's up. I think all of us agreed that it's going to be a mega hit. Just an absolute mega hit. Oh, Adam DeSabato says it should be a poster, but it's just a pop socket for your phone. Ooh. But I mean, that's still something. That's still something nice. And then Michael Sapesi says, I think the success of the movie will depend on how many nightmares the dwarves cause in children. Yeah, they have a lot of problems with the dwarves. They have not talked... Oh, thank you, Emilio. They haven't talked about the casting for the dwarves, but I think that's going to really come and bite them in the butt. Thank you, Julio. Let's see here. The musical lawyer says, as a classical singer, I think Rachel Zegler is one of the best singers right now in movies. Sad to see her career implode. I'm glad you brought that up, musical lawyer. I wanted to say something on that actually, and I forgot. As a woman in the pop culture space myself, I know that it can be brutal and very unforgiving. And so part of me does feel like maybe this seems like a little extra cruel. However, I do not like Rachel Zegler's comments about Snow White. I do think Gal Gadot looks like she's doing a very bad job in the movie. I don't like what they did with the dwarves. And I think that Gal Gadot made the choice to get involved with politics, and that's a tricky thing to do. And she finds herself very much in a very heated and emotional conversation right now. And so, do I think it's because they're women that is part of it? Yes, I do think it's part of it. And that makes me sad that women still continue to have a really hard time. But I think that there are other elements. There are other elements at play as well. Let's see here. I thanked Emilio. I thanked Julio there. The 303 says, I think it's incredibly selfish that Zegler put her virtue signaling and edgy politics over the performance of her movie. She probably hurt the careers of everyone involved in this project. I never would have cut classic Disney songs from Walt. Like Someday My Prince Will Come and things like that. I know they have Pasek and Paul, which is very exciting, from The Greatest Showman, but I never would have cut these other elements. And I would not, it's the one that started them all. And, and again, then, all the horrible comments about the kiss, how do you get her consent? It's not, the prince didn't cast that stupid spell. What do you want from him? Like we said, someone said he could do the fist bump of true love or just throw a bucket of water on her. Thank you, Derek. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Celestine said Disney should stay away from movies and stick to animation. Well, I don't know. Look how good Lilo and Stitch looks, right? And I have to tell you, I think parts again of this movie look incredible. So, I'm still curious to see it. I probably wouldn't pay to see it in theaters if I wasn't going to review it. If I wasn't, if I didn't cover it. I think a lot of people are going to wait on this one. It might end up doing quite well on Disney Plus down the line. But I think those dwarves were a big mistake. The House of Overthinking says he didn't kiss her awake in the original fairy tale. Yeah, but then why do you got to make the original movie look like it's doing something wrong? Weekend Thwip says, is Rachel Zegler's film career over after this? I have to see what the box office is and what the reviews are for her. I think she's certainly proven herself to be a liability from a publicity perspective. And I think that as a producer, you'd be very nervous about that. And also, she has yet to gross. So she did okay, as some of you pointed out, in Hunger Games. But I don't think she brought anything to the film. I'm not a Rachel Zegler fan. But, I don't want to, I want to try and be respectful. I don't want to be mean. But I'm just, I'm not a fan. I think she does a fine job as an actress, and I think she is a wonderful singer, but just something's not connecting, in my opinion. And I think you can see that most moviegoers feel the same way, because she just has not been able to do very well. Marvel Hero says, if you listen to the lyrics of her new song, you understand what Rachel meant with her comments about Snow White. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to have a girl power element to the story, but I think that, don't forget why people like the Disney princesses. Romance is a big part of the package, whether or not you agree with it. Those are the most successful Disney princesses. Olive Earl points out that she doesn't deserve the hate. People need to blame Disney for the casting if they don't like it. It's certainly not, I certainly think that, I can understand why Disney did what they did, and, we'll see how it works out. Latino audiences are really a huge force at the box office, as we know, from Movie Math every Sunday. However, they historically don't always go and see Latino talent, which I think Hollywood has been trying to figure it out. That's right. Elsa does not have a romantic interest, but Anna does. So that's how they kind of got around that for that movie. Garnet Fire, I'm very sorry to hear that Rachel Zegler had to deal with that. That's horrific. Diogo says, I think she's clicking with younger audiences, but I think that other generations don't like her as much. I'm not sure about that, because then why aren't they going to see her movies? I mean, her movies do not do well. But I mean, maybe she was a factor in Hunger Games. All right, I don't want to say anything more bad about these very nice ladies. I just feel like this movie's not working. Okay, let's do the Q&A. Okay. Booyah, that's right. 10-minute Q&A. So it's 3:17. We'll go till 3:27, and then I'll be right on time. Mika, I have content going up tomorrow, but I'm not going to be at my desk tomorrow, so I won't be reacting to the F1 trailer. I got scared. I thought you said Fantastic Four for a minute. I was like, not the day I can't work. Oh, my God. Danny, my Novocaine review will go up tomorrow, although I think I've had to delay my studio review, the studio, until next week, the Seth Rogen show. But that's okay. It doesn't come out till March 26th. Did I not do Boom Baby, Mr. Magic? I'll do Boom Baby on Friday. Nacho Flores, I don't know if I'm going to review White Lotus. Maybe I'll do a spoiler review when it's all done. David Kyle says, do you think Catherine O'Hara will win an Emmy for the studio? I think she might be nominated. I think that show is going to be, I think the studio is going to be extremely popular with the awards season. Oh, Ethan says, wasn't it already confirmed that Tom Holland is mostly doing voiceover work for Doomsday, similar to Pedro and Mando and Grogu? I don't know if that's confirmed, but that might be the case. Although, you know, I don't know. That would be fine, I think. I guess. Tom Holland does a lot of his own stunt work, though. Oasis, Grace, do you think that scene will happen in episode 1 of The Last of Us Season 2? Oh, and do mostly flashbacks, like the game? No, I think that scene will happen at the end of Season 2, if I had to guess. Sahib says, Grace, let's see here. I love you, but it's unfair how you dismissed Nezatu's box office success. Well, I didn't so much dismiss it as say I don't know how much I trust China's reporting. So it's hard for me to really be like, woohoo, you know, because China fudges the numbers quite a bit over there. I think there's a lot of evidence that that's the case. Sockley says, Lilo and Stitch versus How to Train Your Dragon. Who will win? Well, wouldn't it be great for Hollywood if they both won? Let's see. How to Train Your Dragon comes out in June. Let me see how far apart they are. So, hold on. I got to go look at the release calendar. All right, so Lilo and Stitch comes out at the end of May. May 23rd is Memorial Day weekend, actually. So, and then in June, we've got How to Train Your Dragon on June 13th. Ooh, that's close. So how many weekends apart is that? That's 2 weekends. I think they could coexist. I do think that Lilo and Stitch is going to hurt How to Train. They might hurt each other a little bit. In terms of affecting repeat viewing. Blair, I already reacted to the Lilo and Stitch trailer earlier today, but I love your enthusiasm. Go check out my reaction. I think they could coexist. I think they're far enough apart. Oh, John the chef, I love that you got a Ruby badge. Congratulations. Let's see here. And then Sarah says, what is your opinion about the rumor of Alfonso Cuarón doing 007? I mean, I'd be okay with it, but I wouldn't be super excited. And then Celestine says, any thoughts on the recent The Chosen experience in Times Square? I haven't heard about that. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. You know, The Chosen's very popular. I believe, what did it just got a deal to stream on Prime Video or something? That's a very popular show. And, you know, I do like Bible movies and shows. I don't watch a lot of Bible shows, but I've watched a lot of Bible movies. And, you know, and there's a religious animated movie coming up that Oscar Isaac's doing a voice on that looks pretty good. And so I think that's nice. I'll have to look into that. Thanks for asking me about it. Mr. Andrew says, what's your prediction for Snow White and or the Odyssey box office opening? The Odyssey, I think, will be huge because it's Christopher Nolan. As for Snow White, I think under 50. They're predicting it to have a 5 in front of it. I think it's going to be lower. I think there might be a lot of last-minute walk-up business because people might be like, I want to go to the movies. Let's try it. But let's see what the Rotten Tomatoes score is. It could be Disney's Joker, too. I think there's a real chance. Senior Lullaby says, I think season 2 of The Last of Us will be Ellie's perspective, and the big thing will at the end, have the big thing at the end, and then go to Abby for season 3. Potentially, I think that would make the most sense. I think if you do the big thing at the beginning of season 2, there's no way you can stretch it much further. Ricardo, I did see that Landman got renewed. I think they're going to start shooting pretty soon. I'm very excited about that. I love that show. And Elise, are you talking about Andor season 2? I will be covering Andor season 2. I don't know what I'm going to do about breakdowns. I mean, it's really slow these days, so I probably will break it down week to week. But I probably won't break it down the night of. I'm even thinking of switching my Daredevil breakdowns to the morning after because there's just so little interest in the show. I'm shocked at how little interest there is in Daredevil. It's really bad. It's Andor level bad. Not saying the show's bad, but the level of interest in it is not good. Tyler, I'm going to try and review Black Bag on Friday. Let's see here. Mystic points out that the Marvels opened at 44. Marduk says 35. I kind of actually want to agree that I think it might open with 3 in front of it. But yeah, I think anywhere in the 3 or the 4s is a better bet than a 5. I think a 5 is too aggressive, too high hopes. And then Paul says, I was reading up on the creation of Batman. Is it true Bill Finger did a lot more for Batman than Bob? I'm not sure, Paul. I don't really pay attention to like the older Batman days, like the beginning. Let's see here. And then Kyle says, Grace, remember when No Way Home went out of their way to confirm MJ's birth name is Watson? Zendaya is our MJ, end of story. I really hope that's true. And then John says, with nothing announced post Secret Wars, what do you hope to hear at Comic-Con? Just a couple of months away. It is coming up, isn't it? I hope they stop announcing too many things in the future. I hope that they just give us some looks at the things that are coming up. And maybe and start getting us excited about these 2 Avengers movies. That's my opinion. Alpidio says, thoughts on animated Spider-Verse delays. What do you mean, like the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man? I'm not quite sure what you're referring to. And then Star says, does Severance pick up the pace this week? A little bit, but it's still very frustrating. I mean, this Severance is going to live or die by its season 2 finale. Because I think people are getting annoyed. And episode 9 is not going to make you feel a ton better. It's going to make you feel a little bit better, but it's not going to make you feel a lot better. Let's see here. Oh, the reason Ariel Knight that The Accountant 2 reviews came out now is because it premiered at South by Southwest. Oh, Garnet Fire, chicken nugget money! I love chicken nuggies. Maybe I'll order some chicken nuggies. You made me very happy. I do love a chicken nugget. Thank you, Garnet Fire. They are delicious. Let's see here. Zeke, if your prediction, what would it mean if your prediction came true about the Odyssey? I don't like that idea, but I mean, it would be very, very good for you. Yay, right? Let's see here. Let's see. I haven't listened to Gaga's new album, but I was impressed with how much attention she got on Saturday Night Live. She still got it. Good for you, Gaga. Oh, let's see here. And then Danny says, Grace, what do you think of Andor releasing 3 episodes per week? Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I'm definitely breaking it down the next day. I think it's a great idea, to be honest with you. I think it's nice to have a movie every Tuesday. And I have to remember, I think Andor's too slow to be released once a week. The House of Overthinking says that Daredevil hurt itself by being only for fans of the Netflix show. That's an interesting theory. Josh loves, and I would agree with that. Josh Loves Movie says, I'm more excited for CinemaCon. Yeah, CinemaCon's going to cook. CinemaCon and Star Wars Celebration Japan, don't sleep on those events. Those are going to be big. CinemaCon is at the very beginning of April, March 31st through April 3rd or 4th. But let me see. Let me go look at this. No, through the 3rd. On CinemaCon, Warner Brothers presents on April 1st. Universal and Amazon MGM present on the 2nd, and then Paramount and Disney promote on April 3rd. And then Star Wars Celebration, when the heck is that? Also in April 18th to the 20th. I heard they're probably going to get some trailers there. You know which ones they're going to be. Don't make me say it. And then I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't heard anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kathleen Kennedy retires at that point. But April's going to be really big. Thank you, Sahib. Hey, Devin. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for rejoining. Oh, look, you made Elliot want chicken nuggies too. Chicken nuggies, so delicious. Oh, I gotta go. I don't want to be late for my meeting. Thank you so much for joining me for this juicy live stream. I had a wonderful time talking to you as always, and I'm shooting for another live stream to do 3 this week as promised, so the next one will be on Friday. But there will be videos tomorrow. All right, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye. Brett, what's at the top of my comic book stack? Oh, hold on, let me check. Do I have Kindle on here? It's usually on my iPad. I think I do. Yes, I do. Aha! What am I the most excited to read this week? A lot of good stuff, actually. Okay, hold on. What did I get? I'm excited about... I think I only got like a few comics. The Absolute Superman, and then the new Batman and Robin. So that's what I'm excited about. All right, everybody, bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye.